At 2:17 a.m., Moscow appears calm from above. The river reflects the city lights, traffic is sparse, and the Kremlin complex rests behind layers of stone, protocol, and assumption. Nothing suggests that history is about to test its own balance. A small group is already in motion. Their pace is deliberate, neither rushed nor hesitant. Each movement aligns with a timeline that allows no improvisation. They are not thinking about slogans, borders, or ideology. They are thinking about sequence, coordination, and the single outcome that would justify everything that follows. This is Russia, and the man at the center of this night is Vladimir Putin. For more than 2 decades, Putin has been more than a president. He has become the structural constant of the Russian state, the reference point around which power reorganized itself. Institutions adapted, elites recalibrated. Loyalty outpaced legality as the primary mechanism of survival. His protection reflects that reality. It is not built on visibility or reassurance. It is built on depth, redundancy, and distrust. The team understands this long before anything begins. They also understand a harder truth. There is no flawless plan, only plans that fail later than others. The opportunity they are exploiting is narrow, almost theoretical. A routine so established that it no longer invites scrutiny. Repetition creates predictability. Predictability creates confidence. Confidence eventually creates gaps. That is the assumption. As the initial phase unfolds, resistance is absent. Systems respond as expected. Human behavior aligns with routine. For a brief stretch of time, everything feels too smooth. Experienced operators know that perfection is rarely real. It usually means something unseen is already shifting. With every threshold passed, commitment deepens. Progress is no longer advancement. It is accumulated risk. Turning back would not undo exposure. It would only render it meaningless. Then something changes, not a disruption. Not a confrontation, just a subtle irregularity. A delay measured in seconds. A presence that should not exist at that hour. The response is immediate and instinctive. Adjustment is not debated. It happens. But adjustments compound. And compounded adjustments distort intent. As the next phase begins, communication compresses. Language gives way to signals. The margin narrows. Everyone senses it. They are still within tolerances, but tolerances are abstractions. Reality feels tighter. Everything now hinges on a factor beyond their control. The target himself. That night, Vladimir Putin alters his routine. Not in response to a threat, not because of an alert. Simply an intuitive decision, the kind made by someone who has survived long enough to trust unease over structure. That single choice fractures the plan. Elements fall out of alignment. Seconds separate actions meant to converge. Synchronization dissolves. The team leader recognizes it instantly. He also recognizes that aborting guarantees failure with consequences as severe as continuing. He decides. The final phase proceeds incomplete. At the same moment, Russia's security apparatus begins to react not to sound but to absence. A space that feels wrong. A delay that lacks explanation. In systems designed around suspicion, instinct is treated as data. From that point forward, the night accelerates. Containment measures activate, access points narrow. Movements intersect that were never meant to overlap. Moscow does not awaken, but it becomes alert. As pressure compresses time, the team reaches the last boundary. There is no capacity left to adapt. The outcome is no longer determined by precision alone, but by probability. And probability is indifferent. Putin is routed through a contingency pathway that officially does not exist. A construct designed precisely for moments when threat is assumed rather than confirmed. By the time confirmation arrives, the opportunity has already collapsed. The objective is gone. The order comes without emotion, withdrawal, but withdrawal is never clean. Not after commitment. Not after exposure. The city is now active. Every minute compounds risk. The team fragments into smaller units, following contingencies never meant to be triggered simultaneously. Some vanish into the system. Some are delayed. Some never return. By morning, Vladimir Putin appears on state television. Controlled, reserved, alive. The narrative is framed not as vulnerability, but as validation. The message is implicit and unmistakable. Threats are constant, and survival authorizes consolidation. In the days that follow, new measures are announced, new detentions occur. Loyalty is narrowed further, formalized more aggressively. The failure does not weaken the system. It reinforces it. What never becomes public is how close equilibrium came to disruption, how narrow the margin truly was. History does not document proximity, it records results. For those involved, there is no resolution. Success would have rewritten their identities. Failure traps them in the instant the structure bent but did not break. Nothing that follows will ever carry the same weight as what almost happened. And the world continues, unaware that it passed through a corridor of possibility and emerged unchanged, not because change was impossible, but because chance intervened. The question lingers long after reports are sealed and memories compartmentalized. In systems built on redundancy and fear, does removing one figure ever dismantle the architecture beneath them? Or does the attempt merely prove how resilient that architecture has become? If you had been present when that decision was made, would you have pressed forward? Or stepped back knowing history would never acknowledge how close it came? Think about that. We'll leave it there. If this story stayed with you, you already know what to do. Subscribe and like the video for more explorations of what could have been. We'll continue next time.